Hello there guys, welcome back to Younes Talks Football, welcome back to a brand new video. I hope all of you are doing well today. Topics on hand are, well, some would say good and good, some would say bad and good, some would say don't mind and good. Anyway, we're ending with good, which is the most important thing. And we're going to start with controversial. Before we get into anything though, I want to let you know two things. Firstly, make sure to catch social media links in the description. Twitter and Instagram are there to follow. Much appreciated. Secondly, preview for Chelsea's long-awaited Champions League tie away at Dortmund in front of the yellow wall, which will have a record attendance tomorrow. That's going to be interesting. I think they've expanded and managed to allow, full capacity in Dortmund now, which means that we're going to get the full yellow wall. And how ironic, hey, good timing for a team that's won their last, their last 7, and for us that's not got an away win in 8. Fantastic, it's perfect timing. Who knows, we might just win 4-0. But preview for that game will be dropping tomorrow, so make sure your eyes are peeled for that. I'm looking forward to it because it's one hell of a preview and it's the only game that we have something to play for. You know, the rest of the games that we're playing this season are already pretty much written off, but this one, Champions League, last 16, first leg away, it's where it gets tasty and it's where it means something, and we got to try our best. Although I have to say, what we're hearing from Graham Potter, from all sorts right now, isn't very encouraging. I don't feel much motivation, which is going to come to the point now that I want to discuss in relation to Graham Potter. Before we kick off at Dortmund, and we've got some clarity, it seems, from all sorts of very, very reliable places and sources, all sorts of ketchup, mayonnaise, barbecue sauce, all the sources, right? Fabrizio, David Ornstein, and more that I'm going to show you today. Let's get cracking with the latest from the Chelsea hierarchy as to what is the position of Graham Potter right now. How do the owners and the higher-ups at Chelsea look at Graham Potter after Chelsea's recent form? Without further ado, we kick off with the guy that broke the news earlier on this morning, David Ornstein. He says Chelsea hierarchy intend to judge Graham Potter by years, not months or games. CFC expect progress, but giving 47-year-old significant time. Joining new project mid-season, ongoing rebuild, injuries, youth drive mean job seen as safe, plus long-term. That's from David Ornstein. We go into a little bit more detail that David Ornstein did expand on in his article, saying, the feeling within the Chelsea hierarchy is that Graham Potter should be judged in years, not months, and they are confident they have one of the best managers in the game. The Chelsea owners have a lot of changes still to make at the club and decided early on not to judge him on whether they qualify for Champions League football this season. The Chelsea leadership team feel Graham Potter coming in mid-season with a squad that needed such a big overhaul meant success was always very unlikely in the short term, and that there is still a lot of change to come. Where do I start? Everything that I've just read sounds great. Let me get that out in the open first. It sounds great in terms of the method, right? But it comes back to the point that I want to make, which I think I'm going to make after I read the next point anyway. But this is pretty much focused on, we've got a manager in, and we're looking to make loads of wholesale changes, and there have been a couple of circumstances, injuries, and getting some new players in and whatnot. Okay, fair enough, so we're going to give it some time. I understand that, and I think that's the correct way to go. But if I'm looking at the ownership for who they've hired, I get it. But I think there are many, many people trusting that process, regardless of who the manager is. This is the problem. And I'll get into more of that very, very shortly, because I feel like there's a point to be made, and I feel like it could be a reality check for a lot of Chelsea supporters. Let's get into what Fabrizio Romano said just not long ago this evening on the back of what David Ornstein said this morning. So here it is. Chelsea want to protect Graham Potter. They want to proceed in this process together. Results are always needed. This is the mission for Potter to get them as soon as possible, and at the moment, there's no conversations with any manager. with any other manager. Fabrizio Romano continues, the message internally at Chelsea is they want to protect Graham Potter. They know it takes time. They are convinced with Potter. Chelsea are not speaking to any other managers or agents. Now, this is where, okay, I'm going to start off with this point and then we're going to get to what I was saying earlier on. Chelsea have one of the best managers in the game, apparently. Chelsea are convinced with Potter. I would honestly, I mean this from a very good place. I would love to know what that is. I really would. I have no idea where it's coming from. This is where I stand. This goes back to the point that I want to make about process, right? I think a lot of Chelsea supporters, or whoever, is looking at Graham Potter and going, nope, he needs all the time in the world. We need to give him time, right? I am convinced that a lot of those fans, I'm not saying all, there are going to be some that genuinely just like Graham Potter and think he is the bee's knees and he's going to be a top manager. Fair enough. Your opinion. I can't take that away from you. You're entitled to that. But I think there's a large share of fans right now that are saying that we got to give all the time in the world, just for the fact that it's finally come that there is an owner at Chelsea that's giving time. It's just for that. I guarantee, and I could bet quite a lot, that if it were Frank Lampard right now in this situation and it came out that no, the ownership are giving him all the time, I bet there's going to be a lot of fans going, no, we got to give him time. We got to give him time. We got to give him all the time in the world. It's going to come good. Yeah, we're going to flop. It's fine. Don't worry about that. That's life. But it's fine. Don't worry. We'll get better. It will get better. We'll be fine. We got to give him all the time in the world, even if it means years. Now we got to do it. We got to do it because we have to ride the process. I genuinely believe that it's the starvation that Chelsea fans have had over a long period of time just because we've never given a manager time, right? And that is what I think is the preceding factor in all of this. It's regardless of Graham Potter or whoever, it could be anyone in that job. If the owners came out and said, no, we're giving them all the time in the world, we're gonna ride through this no matter what. We could finish 15th, we don't care. We're riding through it. It's exactly what Chelsea fans wanted with previous managers. It's what Chelsea fans wanted with Mourinho. It's what Chelsea fans wanted with Ancelotti. It's what Chelsea fans wanted with, well, dare to say, a lot of them wanted it with Tuchel. There's quite a few Chelsea managers, Conte, that Chelsea have had that loads of fans, myself included, gone, no, we got to keep going. What is this, right? And now Graham Potter's come, and it's not about Potter, it's about giving time. My problem is, I genuinely believe in giving a manager time. I genuinely believe that it's the right thing to do. With the correct guy. This is my problem. I can't see anything with Graham Potter. And I don't know, honestly, if you do, please let me know in the comments, because I'm lost. I don't see it. I don't see it. I can't see it on the pitch. I still don't know what we're trying to do. I can't see it in terms of what he says. I can't see it in terms of what he does. I can't see it in terms of how he acts. I get more motivation out of my cats than I do with him from some of the things that I hear coming out of his mouth sometimes. And I mean that respectfully. I mean on a footballing level. As a person, you can genuinely see he's a very nice guy. He's a very, very nice man, right? And I've had the pleasure of meeting him very, very briefly for a few seconds, and you can just tell he's a very polite, understanding guy, right? It's great. For someone to hire, I can understand why he's been hired, but on footballing merit, right? On footballing ability. And some are going to say, well, this is the thing. We're going to have to give time for him to implement everything that he wants to implement. The truth is right now, right? And this is how I see it, is when you get a manager that comes in, you expect something. This is Chelsea FC, ladies and gentlemen. What are we doing? This is Chelsea Football Club. There needs to be something. We're sitting 9th, well, nearly 10th. We'll see what Liverpool do later on. Knocked out of all cup competitions, except for the Champions League. We'll see how that goes down. We've won 2 in 13. And it's just, and even with new signings, some injuries that have gone down now and we've got players coming back. We've seen the performance against West Ham, for example. Performances prior to that, that's nowhere near convincing. But it's not an excuse, considering the quality we have in the team. I guarantee if there's another gaffer in charge, it's better. Now, I understand to an extent, I want to say this, right? I get for not taking action right now. I'm saying that for me, I don't believe Potter's the guy. That's my own opinion. I do not believe he's the guy. And I genuinely think, as I've said, I think we're riding on it for the fact that it's just giving time for the sake of giving time because we've never done it before and we want to see it, right? But I genuinely think Potter's not the guy. However, I get for the fact of the options that are out there why there's no action being taken right now, today. But all I'm going to say is this. When it comes to the new owners, when it comes to what they've said, what they feel, how they're approaching this, giving years, time will tell. Time will tell. I'd like to think that the new owners know what they're doing, and clearly from the transfer market, from the way that things have moved in the club, from all sorts, it looks like they have a clear plan and they know what they're doing. Fair play. I just don't get it with Graham Potter. I just don't get it. And what I do want to say is that when it gets to a certain situation, if results do not improve, I'd love results to improve. And I've said it previous. I've said if results do get better, if we do start seeing something, if I'm able to actually finally tell, oh, well, okay, I can see what we're doing, right? And it actually starts to get better. I'm not saying go all out and get top 4, go all out and win the Champions League. I'm not asking for that. It's completely unrealistic. I'm not asking for us to even win the title in the next season or two. I'm not. It's unrealistic. But we got to see improvements. We got to see an upward trajectory. We got to see something. We're not seeing anything. And there's people with this faith, and I don't know where it's coming from. I genuinely don't know where it's coming from. I've seen fans that are happy to remain bottom half of the table just for the sake of giving time. What has happened? What has happened? That will never be me. I'm sorry. I adhere to the fact that we can give time and we can have a process with someone who's keeping us at a certain level. And as I've said, I'm not saying go out and win every single week. It's impossible. But the way we're getting results right now, the amount of draws and losses that we've had, and the very, very few wins, I'd like to flip that. Where it becomes mostly wins, a few draws, and maybe a couple of losses here and there. Completely normal. But flip it. That's how we should be playing. We're doing the complete 180 of what we should be doing. And this is why I'm looking at it and going, you know what? Look, for this season, it looks like it's a complete write-off and we'll see what happens in the Champions League. But I bet, even these new owners that have this vision and they're looking at this going, yeah, no, we're going to ride for it no matter what. If results drop to a certain place, action will be taken. You'd be stupid to think action will not be taken. It will be taken. I hope results get better. And I want to get to a point where I actually start to realize what we're doing and things are looking like they're starting to gel and they're starting to glue. And I go, oh, okay, maybe things are changing. Maybe this is working. Maybe we're getting somewhere. I'd love for that to happen without question. And I'd be the first to come on in and go, okay, no, you know what? Don't get rid of Potter just yet. Maybe something's happening now. Maybe, right? Cool. Let's see. But we know there's nothing now. We know for sure that nothing's going to happen up until the end of the season. Unless if results really plummet, right? Really plummet, which isn't impossible with the way that we're playing. Let's be honest. I'm just going to say that the new owners, the way they're looking at this, I can understand what they're trying to do. But if results get to a certain place, that vision will change. It will change. It's inevitable. It will change. So it's up to Chelsea, it's up to Potter, it's up to us getting results. We'll see what happens. Time will tell. But that's the key to take away from this. Time will tell. Time will tell for good or time will tell for bad. We'll wait and see. But let me know your thoughts down below. I'd love to get your opinions on all of that because, as I've said, I'm still baffled and unconvinced. I genuinely don't know where people's faith in Potter's coming from. I'm not saying sack a manager every week. I don't want to, but I'm not. I don't want to be oblivious to the fact that I don't see it working. I just don't see it working. You know, it's not clicking. That's why I'm genuinely thinking I'd love for a process. I'd love to give time, but you give time based on what you're seeing and based on results. And as I've said, I'm not looking to win every week, but there has to be something. We're not seeing it. But let's give the benefit of the doubt. Let's wait and see what happens against Dortmund. Let's wait and see what happens against new manager-bound Southampton because they've sacked Nathan Jones. Let's wait and see what happens against Spurs. Let's wait and see what happens after that. Leeds, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see what happens, right? And then we will discuss further later on. But let me know your thoughts down below. Now let's get to more of an optimistic and happy piece of news to end the video, which is Joao Felix. What's gone down? Well, Fabrizio has filled us in with this. If Joao Felix is clear with Atletico at the end of the season and says he wants to stay in London, Chelsea feel confident internally that they can do a deal for less than 130 million euros. This is the plan and idea. It's early. He also goes on to say, Chelsea always felt that if Joao Felix is happy at Chelsea, they feel that in that case, it can be a serious option to reach an agreement for Felix in the summer. He has to make a decision at the end of the season. So it seems like it's in his court. It seems like it's down to the player. And I have to say, if it's down to the player, I think he wants to stay. If it continues the way that it's going and, you know, he keeps up form and he's scoring and he's assisting and it's looking good, or at least he's just playing well, I feel like, well, I feel for him as well. If he feels like he has more impact here than he does at Atletico, I feel like he'd want to stay. So for that, it would mean two things. It would mean that, great, we definitely have an upper hand in getting Joao Felix to sign long-term and that we keep him on a permanent. Beautiful, I'm all for it. And there was even talk that Todd Bowley and Igbali and the board want to base the team around Felix. Fair enough. Definitely can be done. We'll see what happens. But with Joao Felix, if he were to sign on a permanent, and we do get Nkunku in the summer, which is looking like it's going to happen, 100%, then someone's got to go. Someone's got to go. And I have to say, I'm looking at Kai Havertz here. I'm looking at Kai. Because if we're looking at players that play behind the striker, I hate the amount of wingers and guys that play behind the striker that we've got. It's ridiculous. We're going for a striker in the summer, it seems. It could be Victor Osimhen, so we'll see what happens there. But in terms of the player that can either play alongside the striker, just tucked in behind, or directly behind as a 10, well, we've got Havertz, Nkunku, and Joao Felix now. Who's it going to be? Because there's only space for one. And if we're getting Nkunku, we're keeping Felix. I'm sorry, I look at Kai Havertz and I go, mate, it's looking a bit sticky for you. Bayern Munich, get on the blower. Hello, do you want Mr. Kai Havertz after all? Because it's been 3.5 years and I know that they were interested at the very beginning. We beat Real Madrid and Bayern Munich to that transfer. And now we could actually just go, yo, Bayern, how much are you offering? We'll see what happens. But let me know down below. Do you see yourself going down that route if you had to make the decision? Or would you keep Kai Havertz? Do you have plans for someone else? Or do you reckon we should not keep Joao Felix on after the summer and just get Nkunku instead? Do you reckon Nkunku would come in and actually have effect in order to get ahead of Kai Havertz, or do you think Nkunku would face competition? All these things, let me know down below. I'd love to hear your opinions. And that concludes today's video. Tomorrow will be preview time, and we'll get to see in depth in terms of what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, what I think Potter's going to do, how player selection is going to be a little bit of an issue because someone like Badiashile is not going to be available for selection because he's not in the Champions League squad. So what do we do there? Loads of things to discuss tomorrow, so make sure you guys are here. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. Hit the subscribe button if you are new. Hit the notification bell to be notified once I've uploaded. Smash like button if you have enjoyed this. And I will see you tomorrow. Have a good one, people. See you then. Take care and peace.